start of my third year in Bircas HaTorah. I connected the most with the Rosh Yeshiva when he came to speak at my high school.
I've been in Yeshivas Bircas HaTorah for just about 4 years now. What I experienced was that the Rabbonim and the boys are very close.
I've been in Bircas HaTorah for 4 years. The people that are learning in the Yeshiva are not only learning in Yeshiva, but they're really growing in a very meaningful, serious way.
I've been in Yeshiva Bircas HaTorah for 5 years. I knew that my father had come to Yeshiva Bircas HaTorah 20 years ago prior when Rabbi Green was here.
I came to Bircas HaTorah 7 years ago, and to be honest, in high school, I felt everything was result orientated. And I came to Bircas HaTorah, a home of Torah, and I saw it's all about the process. Life, learning, coming close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu is so geschmack. Avodas Hashem is just incredible.
When one learns in a place for 10 years, many things change, primarily the people coming and going. One thing that I can tell you is that the enthusiasm and excitement of the learning in the yeshiva is palpable and has always been that way.
My family and I have been at Bircas HaTorah for 14.5 years. It was Shavuos night. It was the most exciting thing I'd ever seen, and I didn't know what was going on. And yet here I am 14.5 years later at Yeshivas Bircas HaTorah.
About 16 years ago, after I got married, I was looking for a new yeshiva, and my first shiur that I had with Rabbi Tiger blew me away completely.
I arrived in the yeshiva in 2003, so that's about 17 years now. Being a high school kid in an environment where people were dedicating their lives to learning and avodas Hashem in a serious and meaningful way was something that I had never experienced up until that point.
I first got to Bircas HaTorah around 20 years ago, and I can't overemphasize what a wonderful place, what a warm place it is to grow.
The environment in the yeshiva is so special. It's really a place where everyone in the yeshiva, all the Rabbeim, all the Bachrim can come together, and they really form one unit.
One of the things that I'm told often by people who come to the yeshiva to visit or just to check out the place is that when they come in, there's an overwhelming feeling of warmth. Where not one, not two, but a couple people come up and give them a shalom aleichem and see if they need any help or who they're there to see.
As soon as you walk in, you can hear people shouting at the top of their lungs and just screaming with the passion of Torah.
Fire and flames. The base is always very loud and very full and thriving.
There's a very attractive warmth that goes on, not only in the yeshiva but also in the actual dorms, where everyone lives very close together.
One of the unique things is that the Bachrim interact with the Avreichim.
And this gives the Bachrim sometimes a different view. Sometimes the Avreichim help the Bachrim and say, I've been there and done that. Let me help you and walk you through the scenario.
I find the comfortable nature of the dorms and the food and during the tiulim that everyone's interacting with everyone else.
The fact that people really believe that what they're doing is of value and it's something that they personally feel connected to and is meaningful to them naturally makes them want to pass that on and show other people the tremendous value in what we're doing.
This is the freshness that the yeshiva brings to the yeshivish world, that you can have a close kesher with Rabbeim and friends in an open and growthful Toradic way. The derech halimud of the yeshiva is we learn Rishonim and Achronim. However, we do it in an interactive way together, and we dissect the sugya completely until every vav in Rashi is popping off the page.
We break down the Gemara in a very specific, systematic way where we understand each move, each specific point of the Gemara.
The deep analysis and how we focus on svaras and havaminas and maskanas and all the different steps of the Gemara it's an incredible training tool.
They encourage all of the Bachrim to investigate and to spend time asking questions and delving into the answers. It's stressed on the pshat, the simple understanding.
The way that the shiurim are modeled in the yeshiva is not that it's a lecture type shiur where you just sit back and hear someone else's masterpiece. You are taught how to build your own masterpieces.
You feel like you're contributing and you're a whole part of where you're going and you're building it up together.
To teach the Talmidim how to learn like all the Gedolim learned. And what that means is not just reading their Torah and being able to understand it and say it over again, but how did they come up with the maskanas that they did? How did they know how to ask that question? How did they know to give that kind of teretz? To train Talmidim and to teach Talmidim the depth of the pshat on the page. That's the aleph beis, really, that gets you on your way to being able to yourself produce tremendous Torah.
And I find when we learn this way, the Gemara becomes something much more of an interactive, lively experience.
And this way of learning really changed my life. It made the Gemara so enjoyable, so geschmack, where you really see what the Rishonim and Achronim are doing in a real way. You live the limit of the Rishonim and Achronim.
I think when discussing the relationships between the Rebbeim and the Bachrim, you first really have to talk about the Rebbeim themselves and where they're coming from. And what I've seen personally, time and time again, is the priority that everyone puts on the welfare of the guys.
I find that I have a very close relationship to a lot of the Rebbeim in this yeshiva. Not just how's learning going, but on a very individual level.
There's always an acceptance from the Rabbanim, and they're always happy to help and work with the boys.
The job is not just teaching and helping them develop the skills for learning. There's also a very strong personal element where we are involved in educating them also as people.
And see how they've connected to what they're learning and how they've applied it to their lives and even experienced Shabbosim at their homes.
As a rabbi in Bircas HaTorah, I'm always impressed with how the Rosh Yeshiva leads by example in showing us how to treat each and every student as if it's your own child.
I just felt that I was the only one that he was listening to. He really understood what I was going through and he wanted to give his advice and his attention.
And a lot of this focus is what really creates this close relationship that we can feel comfortable.
And Hashem should bless us with many years that we should always be able to have this connection and treat them with such respect and such dignity.
When someone says a yeshiva is growing or is successful, intuitively, people immediately think about the number of students in the yeshiva growing, the number of applicants, or the quality of the students is getting stronger. My Rebbe, he should live and be well, often asked a different question. He would say, what is the tzrichusa of your yeshiva? Why do we need the yeshiva in Klal Yisrael at all? Here in Yerushalayim, where there's so many yeshivas and so many kolelim, what is the tzrichusa of Bircas HaTorah? Now the measure of whether it's successful or growing is how much of that tzrichusa is actually happening. The essential tzrichusa of Bircas HaTorah is the powerful desire and strength to do the Ratzon Hashem, regardless of what people are going to think and regardless of what you're afraid of. That simple, pure desire to do the right thing is the tzrichusa of Bircas HaTorah.
One of the many things I've learned from the Rosh Yeshiva, besides for learning, is how to approach life decisions and life choices. Everything will go through a thought process, and nothing will be impacted by foreign opinions of what other people think, what do they think you should do.
The same way that we're so particular about how we learn and the diukim that we make, so too we have to have that feeling towards our daily life, to analyze our behaviors and our midas.
And to becoming a genuine B'nai Torah, people with Yirat Shamayim, people with a strong connection both to the Torah itself and to Hashem and to each other.
And that's something that I think is gonna travel with me throughout life, to look at every single situation as an opportunity for growth.
The learning that you do in the shir, b'chavrusa, doesn't stop when you walk out of the Beis Medrash. It's something that has enough gemina in your life between you and your wife and your kids, between you and your chavrusa, your roommates, whoever you are, wherever you are. The way that we're learning is something that translates really to everything, everywhere, in all times.
Over the last 9 years, we have slowly assembled a small army of young men who came in as post-high school students and have stayed, got married, they're having children. Some are in the Choshen Mishpat Kollel, getting dayanos. Some are in the Yoredei Smicha program. Some are Magidei Shiurim. and one of them is the mashgiach of the yeshiva. All these men, these young men, are not afraid of leaving home, leaving their families, being here alone, without financial stability. How are we going to make it? What will people think? They are just purely focused on doing the Ratzon Hashem. That is the tzrichusa of Bircas HaTorah. This building project effectively started 6.5 years ago during Gershon Shloshim. Before that, I did no fundraising. He took care of everything.
He was the administrator. He handled the finances. He did the recruiting. He looked after everything. What's where, what isn't, what books, what should happen. And so when you look at the building now, what we are doing to this day is a continuation of how Gershon ran Yeshivas Bircas HaTorah.
This is taking a building that was just rubble and building it into something big. He turned himself into somebody that was capable of learning, giving a shiur, raising a family.
What everybody knows best about Gershon was that smile. If we look at where Yeshivas Bircas HaTorah is now, there's no question Gershon started the process. He's smiling right now. He's looking at where the yeshiva is, and with the new building, where the yeshiva can go, and I'll bet you that smile is getting bigger and bigger all the time.
My first fundraising phone call, I need you to dedicate the building for Gershon. I want his children, some of whom never knew their father, to see his name on the building and to know who he was and what he represented. One phone call and we secured the funding for the Gershon Bird Building. After that phone call, Hashem made it clear that this was not going to be an easy building project. 6 years we suffered through threats, lawsuits, extortion from our Armenian neighbors, our Jewish neighbors, the city council, the Rova Corporation. And all of that was nothing compared to the Antiquities Authority. They dug for over a year. And as they were digging, the lead archaeologist, Professor Shlomit, she was describing the different stages in Jewish history.
Ottoman stratum were medieval in the 11th century, the biblical period from the Hasmonean, which is late Iron Age or First Temple period. We are to find very, very, very important things.
At first, all of this was so exciting, but then they ordered that all of the bags from the dig had to be sent to the laboratory for special sifting. And I realized that this may never end, and we were paying for all of this.
This past summer, my Mendy and my daughters put together a surprise 70th birthday party for me. And along with the party, they produced a video. Toward the end, Rabbi Nissim Tager came out, and it made perfect sense that he would be there. I remember when he came to HaTorah, he became a charusa to my son Mendy. But when it finally dawned on me what he was saying.
To connect our families for eternity together by dedicating this space medrash in your honor.
My first thought was, you know, a big chocolate birthday cake would have been fantastic.
When Mendy called me, my first feeling was tremendous affirmation from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, dveikus to Hashem. I felt his warm embrace, knowing that he has been with us from the beginning of our journey till right now.
Hashem should bless Mendy and Aviva with all good things in Ruchnias and Gashmias, helping them to raise their children and helping them to help Klal Yisrael raise their children for many, many years to come.
The Harari and Levy Learning Center is something very, very precious to me. From when we bought the building, because of the incredible, unique location where millions of people are walking into the Jewish quarter, the first thing they see is our building. We decided to meiser, take 10% of the building to create a space for Klal Yisrael to be able to come in and experience Torah wisdom and true, authentic Torah learning. And I think that this is an incredible opportunity, an obligation for us to spread the sweetness of Torah to Klal Yisrael. I remember about 20 years ago when we had the Chanukah Sabayis for this base medrash that I'm sitting in right now. My Rabbi, Rabbi Green, you should live and be well, stood right here and said the only response that he could think of for such an incredible bracha was to learn, learn, learn harder. And now, as the yeshiva is expanding, almost doubling in size, and we're going to have more classrooms and more Talmidim, Be'ez Hashem, the response is all the more so. All the more so we have to learn hard with all our might and teach. That is the tzrichusa of Yeshivas Bircas HaTorah.
This is a very exciting time moving into the new building, and I feel that it brings a lot of feelings of chiyus and hischadshus into the base medrash.
For so many years, Bircas HaTorah has given so many people Torah, meaning, and growth. And I'm looking forward to being part of this for many years to come.
And I'm so happy that other people are going to be able to experience the incredible experience that I've had in this yeshiva.
The amount of gratitude I owe to the yeshiva and to the Rabbeim and to the Rosh Yeshiva especially, of how much I've seen this yeshiva as a positive impact on my life.
I truly hope the Rosh Yeshiva, the Rabbeim, and the Bachrim who are so sincere of their avodas Hashem continue and carry on going, Michayil Chayil.
It feels very much to me like we are in a process where there's going to be a tremendous amount of growth.
HaKadosh Baruch Hu has given us an opportunity now to bring to fruition the vision that we've had in the yeshiva for quite a while now.
So if you ask me if Bircas HaTorah is growing, the answer is absolutely yes. I pray with all my heart that the Bacharim, the Avrechim, their wives, the Rabbanim and their wives, the donors and their wives, and the children, all of them continue to grow and fearlessly live the tzrichusa of Bircas HaTorah for good and long years.